The war had reached every corner of the colony, leaving cities in ruins and forests scorched. Smoke hung thick in the sky, and the ground trembled under the march of alien machines. Human soldiers were weary, their spirits fading like the last rays of a dying sun. Among them walked Kale, an engineer whose hands were more accustomed to repairing starships than fighting wars. Yet today he was needed in a way he had never imagined. Kyle's boots crunched over shattered metal and broken glass as he navigated the battlefield. He carried a small toolkit, a few spare parts, and a determination that had kept him alive in situations far worse than this. His eyes scanned the horizon, looking for survivors. The humans had suffered a devastating defeat the previous night. The aliens, creatures of both intelligence and brutality, had torn through the colony's defenses like a storm, leaving despair in their wake. In the midst of the chaos, Kel noticed a figure lying motionless atop a ridge. Armor scattered, weapons shattered, and a strange aura of authority still lingered around her. Kel approached cautiously. He had heard stories of the commander, Arya. No human had ever seen her defeated, yet here she was, her armor in pieces, her chest rising and falling with faint, labored breaths. Kel knelt beside her, examining the damage. The armor had taken blows that should have destroyed even the strongest metals. Each panel was cracked, circuits fried, and energy conduits exposed. But what struck Kyle most was that even in defeat, Arya radiated power. Her presence alone seemed to hold the scattered soldiers together, reminding them of what they had once feared and admired. He looked around. The battlefield was emptying fast. Human troops were retreating, and the aliens had not noticed him yet. Kale's mind raced. He could not leave her here. If she died, hope would die with her. And he, an ordinary human, could not allow that. He began pulling tools from his pack. Sparks flew as he worked, repairing small circuits and reconnecting severed energy lines. Sweat ran down his brow, mixing with dust and blood. Kale's hands moved swiftly, guided not just by skill but by instinct. Every adjustment he made was critical. A single mistake could fry the armor's systems or worse, injure Arya further. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. Kale had no sense of time in the midst of his focus. He replaced damaged plates with ones he salvaged from fallen drones, rerouted power through spare conduits, and recalibrated the armor's energy field. As he worked, he spoke quietly to her, though he doubted she could hear him. "Hang on, Arya, you're not done yet. I'll make sure you stand again." Finally, the last connection clicked into place. Kale stepped back, breathing heavily, his hands shaking from fatigue and adrenaline. The armor hummed faintly, energy flowing through its circuits once more. He watched as Arya's chest rose and fell more steadily now. Slowly she opened her eyes. "Kale?" she whispered, her voice weak but unmistakably commanding. "Yes," he replied. "I'm here. You're going to be fine." Arya tried to stand, but the effort made her stagger. Kale caught her, supporting her weight. Her armor, though repaired, glowed softly with a strange, almost living light. Kale noticed that the energy was different now. It responded to her movements, anticipating her intentions. She was no longer just wearing armor. The armor was an extension of her. The alien forces were still advancing, though they had not noticed the two humans on the ridge. Kale helped Arya to her feet. The soldiers who had survived the battle were beginning to regroup in the distance, eyes wide as they saw their legendary commander moving again. Whispers spread quickly among them. "Is it really her?" one soldier asked, his voice trembling. "Arya? She's alive?" Another said, staring in awe. Arya took a few steps forward, testing her repaired armor. She felt the strength returning to her body, the connection between herself and her armor more seamless than ever. Kale watched with a mix of pride and curiosity. He had repaired many machines in his life, but nothing like this. This was more than engineering, it was transformation. The aliens advanced slowed as they noticed movement. Arya's presence seemed to shift the battlefield. Humans who had been ready to flee felt a surge of courage. Soldiers straightened their backs, weapons raised, ready to follow her lead once again. Arya turned her gaze toward the approaching alien horde. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, assessed the situation in seconds. Kyle noticed her mind working like a perfect machine, analyzing threats, predicting enemy movements, and planning counterattacks. The armor responded instantly to her thoughts, enhancing her speed and strength. "Kyle," she said, her voice stronger now. "We need to hold them until reinforcements arrive." "Can you help me? Yes," Kale stammered. "I'll do whatever you need," she nodded. Then for the first time, Kale saw a smile flicker across her face. Not a gesture of vanity, but a signal of hope. Arya, the warrior who had once inspired fear across galaxies, was back, and she was more powerful than ever. The aliens advanced again, their machines clanking over debris and rubble. Arya took the front line, her repaired armor shining like a beacon. Her movements were precise, each strike cutting through enemy ranks with deadly efficiency. Kyle stayed close, monitoring the armor systems and making minor adjustments on the fly. Together, they formed a bond that went beyond soldier and engineer. It was a partnership of human ingenuity and extraordinary skill. Hours of combat passed. The aliens began to retreat, confused by the unexpected resistance. Humans pressed the advantage, inspired by Arya's return. Kale realized something profound. The soldiers were not just following her because she was strong. They followed because she symbolized what humans could do when they refused to surrender. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of red and gold, Kale looked at Arya. She stood amidst the battlefield, her armor glowing untouched by fatigue, while the soldiers rallied around her. For the first time in many months, hope felt tangible. "You did it," Kale said quietly, almost to himself. Arya turned to him, her expression serious but calm. "No, Kale, you did it. You repaired more than my armor. You reminded humans why they fight, and now we fight together." The survivors gathered closer, cheering. Word spread like wildfire. Arya had returned. Her name carried weight again, not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of human resilience, courage, and ingenuity. That night, as the colony tended to the wounded and repaired what they could, Kale stayed by Arya's side. He worked tirelessly to refine the armor further, ensuring it could withstand future battles. And Arya, for the first time since she had been injured, rested with trust in her eyes. Trust in the humans who had not abandoned her, and trust in the spirit of humanity itself. Somewhere beyond the stars, other colonies and settlements began to hear whispers of the Commander reborn. The alien horde had underestimated humans once, but now the galaxy would learn that ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding spirit of humans were forces no enemy could ignore. Kyle smiled faintly, knowing this was only the beginning. The repaired armor was not just metal and circuits, it was a symbol of what humans could achieve when they combined skill, courage, and heart. And with Arya at the forefront, humanity's fight was far from over. It had only just begun. The morning sun cast a pale light over the scarred colony, revealing the extent of the damage from the previous day's battle. Ruins smoldered where buildings had once stood, and the streets were littered with debris and abandoned weapons. Despite the destruction, a new sense of hope moved through the human defenders. That hope had a name: Arya. Arya stood atop a small hill, her repaired armor gleaming in the sunlight. The soft hum of the energy circuits created a rhythmic sound, almost like a heartbeat, and it seemed to synchronize with the soldiers gathering around her. Kyle crouched nearby, adjusted some minor calibrations in her armor, ensuring that the systems would operate flawlessly. "Are you ready?" Kyle asked. His voice carried a mix of caution and excitement. Arya turned her head slightly and gave a small nod. "I am. Let's show them what humans can do." The soldiers, inspired by her presence, straightened their backs. For weeks, fear had ruled their hearts and defeat had seemed inevitable. Now, with Arya among them, they felt courage they had not known in a long time. Her armor no longer looked like a suit of metal. It radiated confidence, precision, and human determination. The alien forces had not stopped advancing. In the distance, strange multi-legged machines scuttled across the ruins, sending tremors through the ground. Their designs were terrifying, built for destruction and efficiency. Yet Arya's presence seemed to affect even them. The human soldiers watched in awe as she moved with fluid precision, analyzing every threat, anticipating every attack. Kyle observed her closely. The armor seemed to enhance her perception, allowing her to react faster than any human or alien should be able to. Every movement was calculated, every step deliberate. Yet it was not only her speed and strength that impressed him. It was her mind, her ability to see patterns in the chaos and devise solutions before problems even arose. "Form a line," Arya commanded, her voice calm but firm. The soldiers obeyed instantly. "We will not retreat. We will make them pay for every inch they take." The aliens approached, their machines emitting strange guttural sounds that echoed across the ruined city. They were confident, ruthless, and relentless. But the humans were no longer just a fleeing force. Under Arya's guidance, they were a coordinated army. The first clash came quickly. A small squad of alien scouts emerged, their sharp appendages ready to strike. Arya charged forward, her repaired armor amplifying her speed and strength. In a single fluid motion, she struck the lead scout, sending it tumbling back into the rubble. Sparks flew as her energy blade cut through the alien's armor, disabling it completely. The other scouts hesitated, confused by the sheer precision and power of the attack. The human soldiers took advantage of the pause, using improvised weapons and clever strategies to disable the remaining scouts. Kale watched with a sense of pride. The soldiers were performing beyond expectations, their creativity and determination amplified by Arya's leadership. After the skirmish, Arya addressed her troops. "We fight not just for survival. We fight to remind the galaxy what humans are capable of. Strength, yes, but also intelligence, adaptability, and courage. This is our advantage, and we will use it." The soldiers cheered, their morale rising like a tide. Even Kyle felt a warmth in his chest, a sense of belonging to something greater than himself. He realized that Arya's repaired armor was more than just technology. It was a symbol of human resilience. And humans, when united and inspired, could achieve the impossible. Over the next few days, Arya led a series of counterattacks. Each engagement showcased not only her combat prowess but also human ingenuity. They used the terrain to their advantage, set traps with limited resources, and improvised weapons from salvaged alien machinery. Every victory, no matter how small, sent a clear message. Humans would not be defeated. Kale remained at her side, constantly monitoring the armor and making enhancements on the fly. He discovered new functions as they were needed: energy shields that could redirect attacks, boosters that increased speed in short bursts, and even a communication link that allowed Arya to coordinate with distant squads instantly. With each improvement, the soldiers' confidence grew, and the aliens' fear increased. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Arya and Kyle surveyed the battlefield from a ridge. Smoke from destroyed alien machines rose in thin columns, and the sounds of distant combat echoed across the colony. "They adapt quickly," Kyle said. "They're learning from our attacks," Arya nodded. "And so must we. Humans are not the strongest species, Kyle, but we are the most adaptable. They may have power and technology, but they cannot predict human creativity. That is our weapon." The following day, Arya devised a bold plan. She led a small squad behind enemy lines to sabotage a major alien supply station. It was risky, almost suicidal, but she had confidence in her soldiers and their human ingenuity. Kale worried, but he trusted her judgment. The mission began at dawn, with stealth and precision as their guiding principles. The squad moved like shadows, avoiding patrols and using improvised signals to communicate. Arya's armor provided enhanced vision and sensory input, detecting hidden threats and guiding the team safely. They reached the supply station, and Kale worked quickly to modify a series of explosives that could disable the facility without harming civilians. When the explosives detonated, the humans watched as alien machinery collapsed, supplies were destroyed, and the enemy's operations were thrown into chaos. The strike was a complete success, achieved not by brute force but by careful planning, courage, and quick thinking. News of Arya's victories spread throughout the colony. Soldiers began to rally around her, inspired by the combination of her skill and human ingenuity. She was no longer just a warrior. She was a symbol. People whispered her name with reverence and hope. Kale noticed a change in the soldiers. They no longer looked to technology or weapons alone for victory. They relied on their own minds, creativity, and courage. Arya had shown them that humans were capable of extraordinary things when they believed in themselves. One evening, as they rested in a temporary camp, Kale approached Arya. "They look up to you," he said quietly. "Not just for your strength, but for what you make them feel. Hope." Arya looked at him, her expression thoughtful. "Strength is important, Kale, but hope is what makes humans unstoppable. You repaired more than my armor. You repaired a belief in ourselves." Kale smiled faintly. "I never thought fixing armor could do that." Arya chuckled softly. "It is not just the armor, Kale. It is what humans can achieve when we refuse to give up. That is what they will follow." The next battle came quickly. The alien forces, frustrated by their losses, launched a massive assault on the colony. Thousands of creatures advanced, confident in their power and numbers. But Arya, with Kale at her side, led the human defense with unmatched strategy and courage. She coordinated squads, predicted enemy movements, and used her armor's enhanced systems to guide soldiers through the chaos. Humans fought with a renewed spirit, their actions guided by both instinct and intelligence. They built barricades from debris, set traps, and used the terrain to their advantage. Every human move was amplified by Arya's leadership and Kale's technical support. Hours of fighting passed. The alien forces, expecting an easy victory, were met with relentless resistance. The humans, inspired by their commander, adapted to every challenge. Kale watched in awe as Arya moved through the battlefield, her armor glowing like a beacon. Soldiers followed her lead, their morale unbroken even in the face of overwhelming odds. By nightfall, the aliens began to retreat, confused and battered. The humans had held their ground, turning the tide of the battle not through sheer strength but through intelligence, creativity, and courage. Kyle looked at Arya, standing tall amidst the victorious soldiers. "You did it again," he said, admiration in his voice. Arya shook her head. "We did it. Humans working together, thinking, adapting. That is what wins battles. Strength is important, but our spirit is stronger." As the colony celebrated its victory, Kale realized something profound. Arya's repaired armor was more than a piece of technology. It was a symbol of human potential. And with leaders like her, humans could face any challenge, overcome any enemy, and inspire hope across the galaxy. That night, Kale made further adjustments to the armor, fine-tuning systems and enhancing capabilities. Arya rested knowing that she was not alone. Humans were with her, brave, creative, and unstoppable. And together they would continue to fight, showing the galaxy that humanity's spirit could never be defeated. The colony had survived its first major battles, but Arya knew the war was far from over. The aliens were powerful and relentless, and they would not stop until every human outpost was crushed. Yet she had seen what humans were capable of, their courage, their creativity, and their stubborn refusal to give up. And now, with Kale by her side, she planned to strike back in a way that no enemy could anticipate. Kale and Arya huddled in a command tent, maps and schematics spread across a makeshift table. The soft hum of her repaired armor filled the space as she moved, the circuits glowing faintly under her skin. "We can't just wait for them to attack," Arya said. "We need to take the fight to them. But we don't have the numbers for a direct assault." Kale studied the maps. "We could use the terrain to our advantage. The alien forces rely on predictable movements and patterns. If we force them into areas they don't control, we can disrupt their formations." Arya nodded. "Exactly. Humans are unpredictable. That is our greatest strength. We will use it." Their plan was bold. They would lead a small strike team directly behind enemy lines, using ingenuity instead of brute force. They would sabotage key alien supply routes, confuse their command units, and turn their own weapons against them. It was risky. If they were discovered, the team would likely be overwhelmed. But Arya's confidence was infectious. The soldiers, inspired by her presence, volunteered without hesitation. The journey to the enemy lines was tense. The strike team moved like shadows through the ruins, avoiding patrols and using improvised camouflage. Arya's armor enhanced her senses, allowing her to detect hidden threats and guide the team safely. Kale followed closely, carrying portable tools and devices to modify alien machinery on the spot. As they approached an alien supply depot, the team paused. Dozens of alien machines guarded the area, their designs strange and terrifying. Arya studied them carefully. "We won't fight them directly," she said. "We will outthink them," Kyle nodded. "I've prepared some modifications for the explosives. They will disable the machines without causing unnecessary destruction." The team moved quickly, using tunnels and debris to approach the depot undetected. Kale worked on the devices while Arya and the soldiers kept watch. The alien machines scanned the area, their sensors sharp and unforgiving. But the humans' creativity allowed them to remain hidden. When the explosives were ready, Kale and Arya placed them carefully among the alien machinery. A single signal from Kale detonated the devices. Sparks flew, metal twisted, and the depot was disabled within minutes. The alien forces were thrown into chaos, unable to respond effectively to the sudden disruption. The humans retreated swiftly, moving through a series of tunnels that Arya had scouted in advance. They had succeeded without losing a single team member. Their ingenuity and planning had turned the enemy's strength into a weakness. Back at the colony, the news of their success spread quickly. Soldiers cheered and morale soared. For the first time in weeks, humans felt like they had the upper hand, even if only temporarily. But Arya knew that the aliens would adapt. They were intelligent and relentless, and they would not tolerate such defeats. She and Kale began working on the next phase, a plan to directly confront a major alien war machine that had been terrorizing the colony's outskirts. The war machine was enormous, far larger than any human vehicle. It moved with terrifying speed, its weapons capable of destroying buildings in moments. Previous attacks against it had failed, leaving death and destruction in its wake. But Arya was not deterred. Kale studied the machine's schematics, pieced together from salvaged alien data. Its armor is strong, but it has vulnerabilities in the joints and energy conduits, he explained. If we can target those points, we can disable it. Arya's eyes glowed with determination. And we will. But we cannot rely on brute force. We need to use strategy, improvisation, and timing. That is the advantage humans have. The team approached the war machine at night using darkness and terrain to their advantage. Kyle carried modified tools designed to exploit the machine's weak points, while Arya led the team with precision. They moved like a single organism, each person anticipating the other's actions. When they reached the machine, Arya coordinated the attack. Soldiers lured the machine into a narrow valley, restricting its movement. Kale worked quickly to disable one of its key energy conduits, while Arya used her enhanced armor to strike with pinpoint accuracy. Sparks and flames erupted as the machine faltered, its movements slowing. The aliens attempted to counterattack, sending reinforcements to defend the war machine. But the humans anticipated this, having set traps along the approach. Alien forces were caught off guard, and the humans were able to continue their assault. Minutes felt like hours as the battle raged. Arya's armor glowed brighter, feeding her enhanced strength and agility. She moved with precision, striking at weak points, dodging attacks, and coordinating her team simultaneously. Kale adjusted the armor systems on the fly, amplifying her capabilities whenever necessary. Finally, with a coordinated strike from Arya and her team, the war machine collapsed, its systems overloaded and disabled. The humans had done what no one thought possible. The alien forces, witnessing the fall of their massive weapon, retreated in confusion and fear. The colony erupted in celebration. Soldiers cheered, flags were raised, and humans everywhere began to understand the power of their own ingenuity. Arya had not only defeated the machine, but she had demonstrated the essence of humanity: creativity, adaptability, and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Kale looked at her, pride swelling in his chest. "They will remember this," he said softly. Arya's expression was serious, though there was a faint smile. "They will remember what humans are capable of. Not just me, but all of us. Strength is important, but ingenuity wins battles." The victory also brought new challenges. Word of Arya's feats spread across the alien ranks, and they began sending elite strike teams to neutralize her. The humans had to prepare for even greater threats, relying on clever strategies rather than sheer numbers. Arya and Kale worked tirelessly, refining tactics and enhancing the armor's capabilities to meet whatever came next. In the following weeks, Arya led a series of strikes that combined stealth, intelligence, and creativity. The humans exploited the aliens' predictable behavior, turning every weakness into an advantage. They used the terrain, improvised weapons, and coordinated attacks that no alien machine could anticipate. Through it all, Kale observed a remarkable phenomenon. The repaired armor seemed to grow with Arya, learning from each engagement. It became more responsive, more precise, and more attuned to her instincts. Humans and technology were no longer separate entities. They had become a single force, capable of feats far beyond expectation. The aliens, frustrated and enraged, began to understand that humans were not to be underestimated. They had faced other species, other warriors, but none had the combination of creativity, courage, and adaptability that defined humanity. Every encounter with Arya and her team reminded them of this truth. One evening, after another successful strike, Kyle and Arya stood atop a hill overlooking the colony. Fires burned in the distance, but the humans had regained territory and morale. "They are stronger than we thought," Kyle said, nodding toward the remaining alien forces. "They are," Arya agreed. But humans are stronger, not just in battle but in mind and spirit. They cannot predict us, and that is our advantage. We will continue to fight and we will continue to win, not just because of strength but because of who we are. Kale smiled faintly. You've given them hope, Arya. More than that, you've shown them what humans can achieve together. Arya turned to him, her eyes shining with determination. And we will continue to show them. Every victory, every challenge is a reminder that humanity is not weak. We are unstoppable when we work together and think creatively. As night fell, the colony rested for the first time in weeks. Soldiers repaired their weapons, humans shared stories of courage, and Kale continued to fine-tune the armor, ensuring that Arya would remain ready for the battles to come. And in the quiet moments, Kale realized the truth of what Arya had been demonstrating all along. Strength alone did not win wars. Intelligence, adaptability, courage, and unity, the qualities that defined humans, were the real weapons. And with Arya at the forefront, humans would continue to fight, innovate, and inspire, proving that no enemy, no matter how powerful, could ever underestimate the spirit of humanity. The alien forces had grown cautious after repeated defeats. Their scouts whispered of a human commander who moved like lightning, struck with precision, and led her soldiers with uncanny intelligence. Arya's name had begun to spread among the ranks, not as a threat to be feared, but as a symbol of human ingenuity and courage. The colony had barely begun to recover from the previous battles. Buildings were repaired, weapons restocked, and soldiers trained. Yet Arya knew that victory was still far away. The alien overlords were sending their elite strike teams, warriors unlike any humans had faced before. Their mission was simple: capture or eliminate Arya and crush the human resistance once and for all. Kyle and Arya huddled in the command tent, studying the alien strike plans. Holographic projections displayed the movements of enemy forces, showing their strengths and vulnerabilities. They're sending their best, Kale said, concern in his voice. This could be the end for us if we're not careful. Arya's eyes glowed faintly from the energy of her armor. It will not be the end. Humans have survived worse. We fight smart, not just strong. That is our advantage, and we will use it. The team devised a daring plan. They would not wait for the enemy to attack. Instead, they would create a trap, luring the elite strike teams into an ambush. The terrain worked in their favor, a network of ruined tunnels, hidden passages, and natural choke points. Humans had memorized every twist and turn, while the alien forces were forced to rely on predictable patterns. When the first wave of elite enemies approached, Arya led a small squad into the hidden passages. The armor's sensors allowed her to anticipate every move of the attackers. She coordinated the humans like a conductor leading an orchestra, each soldier moving in perfect harmony. The battle began. Alien warriors charged with lethal precision, but the humans anticipated every strike. Traps, improvised weapons, and tactical maneuvers turned the alien strength against them. Arya struck with flawless timing, her armor enhancing her speed, strength, and perception. She seemed to move in multiple places at once, a blur of calculated action. Kyle worked tirelessly, enhancing armor functions in real time. Energy shields redirected attacks, targeting systems highlighted weak points, and the armor adapted to each alien technique. Every adjustment he made allowed Arya to fight more effectively, a perfect combination of human creativity and technological skill. Hours passed, and the tide of battle shifted. The elite strike teams, confident in their abilities, found themselves trapped in a web of human ingenuity. Soldiers used distractions, improvised explosives, and clever tactics to disrupt the aliens' formations. Each victory inspired the humans, bolstering their confidence and morale. Amidst the chaos, Arya discovered a hidden feature in her armor, a holographic communication system that allowed her to coordinate with distant human squads across the colony. By linking forces in real time, she could direct reinforcements exactly where they were needed, turning fragmented attacks into a coordinated, unstoppable wave. The humans struck with precision, striking the enemy from multiple directions. The alien strike teams, frustrated and confused, began to retreat. Arya did not allow them to escape. Every move was calculated, every strike precise. Humans used their creativity to anticipate the enemy, exploiting weaknesses the aliens had never imagined. By nightfall, the colony had reclaimed significant territory. The elite aliens were in full retreat, their confidence shattered. The humans celebrated, but Arya knew the fight was far from over. Kale approached her as she surveyed the battlefield. "You've done it again," he said, pride in his voice. Arya shook her head. "We've done it. Humans fight as one, think as one, and adapt as one. This is what makes us unstoppable. Our strength is not just in power, it is in our minds, our spirit, and our unity." Soldiers cheered around them, inspired by their leader. Humans had learned that courage and ingenuity, combined with strategic thinking, could overcome even the most powerful enemies. Arya had shown them that the impossible was possible when humans refused to surrender and used every tool, idea, and instinct available. As night fell, the colony rested. Fires burned in controlled zones and soldiers shared stories of bravery. Arya and Kale worked quietly, fine-tuning the armor and preparing for the next challenge. Humans had tasted victory, but Arya knew the true test was yet to come. The final confrontation with the alien overlords themselves. The alien overlords, enraged by repeated defeats, assembled their ultimate forces. Massive machines, elite warriors, and advanced weaponry converged on the colony. Their goal was clear: erase humanity from the stars. But Arya and Kyle were ready. Humans had grown stronger, smarter, and more united than ever before. Arya stood at the forefront, her repaired armor glowing brighter than ever. Soldiers lined up behind her, determined and fearless. Kyle made final adjustments to the armor, enhancing energy systems and shields for maximum efficiency. "This is it," Kyle said quietly. "Everything we've fought for comes down to this moment." Arya nodded. "It is not just about fighting. It is about showing the galaxy who humans really are. We do not fear challenges. We rise to meet them and we adapt. That is our strength." The alien forces advanced. The ground shook as massive machines approached, their weapons glowing with destructive energy. Elite alien warriors moved with calculated precision, confident in their ability to crush the humans. But they underestimated one thing: the ingenuity, courage, and unity of humanity. Arya led the humans into battle. The armor amplified her every movement, allowing her to strike faster, move more fluidly, and anticipate enemy attacks. Kale monitored her systems, making small adjustments to maximize efficiency. Together, they became a force that no alien machine could fully predict. The humans employed tactics the aliens had never encountered. Soldiers used the terrain, improvised weapons, and coordinated attacks to disrupt enemy formations. Energy traps, collapsing structures, and unexpected maneuvers turned alien strength against them. Every human action was guided by creativity and quick thinking, amplified by Arya's leadership and Kale's engineering. The battle raged for hours. Alien machines fell one by one, elite warriors were outmaneuvered, and the human spirit refused to break. Arya moved through the battlefield like a force of nature, her armor glowing with energy as she struck with precision and strategy. At the heart of the battle, Arya faced the alien commander, a massive being of intelligence and power. Their duel was fierce, every strike calculated and deadly. But Arya's advantage was not in raw strength. It was in her mind, her ability to adapt and anticipate. She used her armor's enhanced systems to predict attacks, redirect energy, and strike at critical points. Kale coordinated reinforcements through the armor's holographic system, allowing humans across the battlefield to respond instantly. The alien commander realized too late that they were not facing a single warrior. They were facing humanity itself. Every human soldier was a part of the strategy, their ingenuity and courage amplified by Arya's leadership. Finally, with a coordinated strike, the alien commander fell. The remaining forces, witnessing the fall of their leader and the unyielding determination of the humans, began to retreat. Humans had won, not through brute force but through unity, creativity, and unbreakable spirit. The colony erupted in celebration. Soldiers cheered, families hugged, and survivors looked upon Arya with awe. She had not only led them to victory but had shown the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. Kale approached Arya, pride in his eyes. "They will remember this," he said. Arya shook her head. "They will remember who we are. Humans do not just survive. We rise, adapt, and overcome. This is our legacy." The human colonies began to hear stories of the Commander Reborn. Arya's name became a symbol, not of fear, but of hope, courage, and human ingenuity. She inspired others to rise, to fight, and to believe in their potential. Kale looked at her, a sense of awe and respect filling him. "You've given humanity a reason to believe in itself," he said. Arya smiled faintly. "We did it together. Humans fight, humans think, humans adapt. That is why we are unstoppable, and this is only the beginning." As the colony rebuilt, humans across the galaxy honored Arya's name. Statues were raised, stories were told, and her legend grew. Yet Arya remained humble, knowing that victory was not about a single person. It was about what humans could achieve when they worked together, adapted and refused to surrender. The stars stretched endlessly above, and Arya looked toward the future. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and unknowns, but humanity was ready. Humans had faced impossible odds, overcome them with courage and ingenuity, and inspired hope wherever they went. And with leaders like Arya and allies like Kale, the human spirit would continue to shine, unstoppable and unbroken. The legend of Arya, the warrior, the leader, the symbol of humanity's ingenuity, was born. And as humans looked to the stars, they knew one truth above all. No matter the enemy, no matter the challenge, humanity would rise.